It's like if you've not seen somebody for a couple of months and you bump into them and they're like, oh, how are you? What have you been up to for the last couple of months? And you go, oh, working, studying and stuff. But if I look at my scrapbook, I can see everything that I've done for that couple of months, and it's not just studying and working, it's spending time with this person, we did that, here's a photo of us doing this, and there's a receipt from going to the cinema or whatever we did, and then they're all in this big book, and it's just like a big diary of happy things. So it's instead of writing a diary every now and you can be like, today was crap, and it's just all the happy stuff goes in this book. And I look back and I'm like, last year was actually awesome, look at all these things that we did. I started doing it as like a stress reliever. It was to direct my attention and energy to something else. I enjoy it because it gives me a distraction, and by the time I finish doing it, I forget what I was stressed about in the first place. But then just say in 40 years or something like that, or longer, we've got like grandchildren and whatever, I still have these scrapbooks with these things to look back on. I started self-harming when I was 13, so I was in first or second year. I think people had sort of accused me of it before I hadn't done it. It was sort of like, moshers pure cutting their wrists and all this kind of thing, and goths are suicidal and stuff like that. And then so it kind of goes with like the genre. You just kind of feel good, but it only lasts for a couple of seconds. I remember just feeling unpopular, unliked, unloved, ugly, and just didn't feel like anything special at all. And then I wasn't myself, I wasn't anybody really. I didn't have my sort of sense of identity. So it was just being friends with people that I didn't even like just because they were the people that you should be friends with because they're popular and, stuff like that. And doing things that I didn't want to do just because other people were doing it as well, to try and fit in and find my place amongst other people. So it kind of just all went with like the loneliness. There wasn't really anybody there. I would kind of be quite nasty to people sometimes. The social workers and stuff, I would give them a load of crap and then they wouldn't come back the next week. Ray was she was a resource worker that I got to help me out, and she just kept coming back. I don't know how long we saw each other for, over a year anyway, and built up a trust, and she was reliable and dependable. She was always there when she said she would be, and she always helped me with things, and she never let me down. So it was that having that relationship, I think, that was good. It kind of changes your perspective when somebody doesn't just give up. But I started to just try and do things that made me happy and spend time with people that I liked, and be myself. So I went to college and we realised that like having the structure and routine was good. Gives you something to get up in the morning for. The whole like framework for my recovery was all based on everything being very structured and itemised, lists. Everything was like written down, everything that I had to do, and there was lists of I remember putting everything in lists. And goals. That was like the big thing, was setting goals and then achieving them and then ticking them off. And it just made me feel like I was in control and that there was order to my life, that wasn't just like chaotic and everything was all over the place. Like, when you've done something, you've achieved it, it's like, go me. Everybody knows somebody who self-harms pretty much, or that has self-harmed. It's not just, black and white, and self-harm is cutting your wrist as girls who do it. It's all different people for all different reasons. It can be drug abuse, especially like pain medications that people don't need. Biting your nails. Sometimes it can be subconscious as well. People can sit and pull their hair out. People think that it's sort of young girls between about 13 and 15 mostly who are emo and having a hard time fitting in. People who self-harm can be a 30-year-old with 2 kids and a wife or a husband and a full-time job and loads of things going on, and people don't think that they would be somebody that self-harms, but they are. Young children, older people as well. Depends on situations in their life and what's happening, but it's definitely not just young women. If somebody was to ask what to do and how I could help, I would just say that they're not alone. There is somebody that will be able to help them, that they can talk to, that won't judge them, because there's a lot of good people out there. but people just don't believe that there is, and they think that they're on their own. And then that's the way it's always going to be, and that there is no future, and that there aren't any other people. But there always is. There's always somebody. Because somebody will help them, whether if they go to counselling, or they join a support group, or they phone somebody up. I think without hope, you kind of just feel like you're in a black box, and there isn't any sort of light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, hoping for realistic things like to be happy is possible. You know, hoping for, you know, a unicorn for your birthday is not realistic, but hoping to be happy and to have friends who care about you, and to have good relationships, and, you know, to do things that make you happy and to be who you want to be, that's all stuff that's possible. And that's just about, with having hope, it just makes everything clearer.
And see the lamppost still is on. Well, maybe we could talk. Maybe we could talk.